So as far as the Patriot movement, and that's what LWN is, we are part of many patriots out there searching for the truth and delivering the news like it should be delivered. All right, LWN. LW is now a licensed broker for Miles Franklin. So if you need any help purchasing precious metals, if you need help maybe flipping your 401k over into a self-directed IRA, your pension funds, your retirement, any need, any question that you have, you can reach out to me at lwnreloaded@gmail.com. Would love an opportunity to earn your business and to answer your questions. And hold on, folks. This week's specials, beautiful, beautiful. The silver Buffalo Bull Mint rounds, while supplies last, only $2.85 over spot. On one side of the coin, you have two buffaloes, two bulls going head-to-head. You got a Native American chief on the other side of that coin. Absolutely gorgeous coin for only $2.85 over spot while supplies last. We also have assorted Buffalo silver rounds while supplies last, only $2.65 over spot. Some of the cheapest prices I've seen so far since I've been a broker for Miles Franklin. I have some of these beautiful coins myself. They look just like a Buffalo nickel, where they have a buffalo on one side. They have the Native American on the other side. Just a beautiful, gorgeous coin, only $2.65 over spot. Again, if you're thinking about the things that are going on in the United States of America, in our economy, the things that the Fed has just put out this week, and you're concerned about your 401k, is it going to last? Is the market going to crash? And what does that mean for you? I would be glad to answer those questions for you, for your 401k, for your pension funds, for your retirement. If you have just some cash laying around and you want to know how to invest it, hey, reach out to us right here at Miles Franklin, and we will be glad to answer those questions and help you through it. You can reach me at lwnreloaded@gmail.com. All right, LWN, if you want to know how to get in on the monthly coin giveaway, it's pretty simple. Simple donation will get your name put in the drawing each and every month that we do the coin giveaway. First way to do it is to buy me a coffee. The links are always dropped in chat. So all you have to do is buy me a coffee just once a month, and your name will be put in the drawing for that beautiful coin. And if you are watching us on Facebook, I've had a lot of people reach out to me and ask, what are stars? How do I donate? How do I get my name put in the drawing? Well, you can purchase Facebook stars, and then it's just like Super Chat or anything else. You can drop a comment in there with the stars. I got away from Super Chat because YouTube was taking over 30% of everything that you guys donated to us here at LWN. So you can buy a star. The stars support the creators, and that is an easy way for you to get your name put in the drawing. Here's some information for you here. Some cost for the stars. You can get 45 stars for 99 cents. You can get 145 stars for $2.99. I think basically each star is like 1 penny. So if you drop 100 stars, that's like $1. So euros, of course, you can buy them anywhere. Put them anywhere you want there in the chat, and that will definitely get your name put in the drawing each and every month for these beautiful coins that we are giving away here at LWN. All right. Welcome back, America. Welcome back to LWN. Oh, man. God is good all the time. Many blessings. I got to give God all the praise, the honor, and the glory for the things that he's doing in my life. I shared in morning devotions this morning about the house that I've been praying for almost a year now, finally has shown up. And so there's still a few things that we need to do, but I feel very confident in it. And of course, things are just working out for us extremely well here at LWN. And I have another special guest tonight, first time guest on LWN. She goes by Amber May. I met her through some other friends of ours, some friends that we've met over the last year. And so she has the Amber May Show. She is a Christian wife, mother, and patriot. Amber May actually was in broadcasting a few years back and was tied to Fox News. She was a contributor for Fox. She went to college there in Arizona and got an education and then became a mother. So she kind of put broadcasting on hold there for a while until God called her back. After she spent many years helping raise her kids. And so with that being said, I would like to invite Amber May to go ahead and join me here on stage. And we're going to have such an amazing conversation this afternoon. I really get excited when I get to have somebody I've never had on the show before, Amber, and get to get to know you, allow my audience to get to know you. You just had me on your Amber May show the other day, and now your audience is getting to know me. So welcome to LWN.
I am so excited to be on LWN. You had no idea. Ever since we met, I've been excited to do shows with you. I'm so excited about our collaboration. But I just want to let you know, I was an intern at Fox. So it was during my college education. And I did get an exclusive for Fox. Of course, I didn't get the credit because I was an intern. But I did a lot of behind the scenes stuff at Fox. So if you're trying to look me up on Fox, you're not going to see me because I was the intern.
You were the intern, but how was that working for Fox? I mean, even as an intern, you still get to see the day to day. You get to see all the behind the scenes. You know, while I was in Missouri at the Truth Summit, people thought I was strange because I took a lot of time for myself, and I was just walking through, watching all the big setups like Flashpoint and His Glory. I walked around. I saw their producers, I saw their makeup people, I saw the lights, I saw the stage, I watched them interact with their guests. You know, as a greenhorn here, I told you off camera that I've been doing this not even quite 2 years yet. So I have a lot to learn. And so that's what I took away from day one there in Missouri at the Truth Summit was I was educating myself. I was watching everyone else and how they do it, what was going on, so that at the next event, I'd have a better clue on what I need to bring for equipment and how I need to set up and how things really unfold at an event like that. So then when I went to North Idaho to the Reawaken tour and I walked into the media tent, I was still unprepared, but it was a whole new situation. But I did have a better idea of the flow of things, and my deal in North Idaho was I had a lack of equipment. Now I don't have that problem. So I'm ready for the next event. But it had to be amazing to be behind the scenes for one of the biggest networks out there, and that's Fox.
It was, I look back, you know, and now I see God's hand in everything I've ever done in my life. I had this, God just put the spirit in me to be a broadcaster since 4. I had my little tape recorder, my microphone. I made all kind of radio programs. And then in high school, I was given the ability to be on public access. And I had the Amber May show on public access TV. And then I knew that's what I wanted to do for a living, is be a broadcaster. So while I was in high school, I called all of our television stations and I was looking for a job, because why should I go and do a stupid teenage job when I already knew my career path? So I was trying to get any kind of job at any of the local stations, and they were all saying, we only hire ASU students. We only hire ASU students. And they were talking about internships. I'm looking for a paid job. So I knew I had to go to ASU because that's where all the news stations told me they hire their people from. So I'm working at a furniture store while I'm in college, and Linda Williams comes in. Linda Williams is the weekend anchor at Fox 10, our local Fox affiliate. And I said, Linda, I want to be just like you. I'm going to school at Arizona State and I want to be just like you. She graduated from Arizona State University and got her job at Fox. And so she gave me her card and she said, I will help you get an internship at Fox 10. I was
That's
like,
awesome.
sweet.
Praise God.
Who came from Fox 10? Do you have any idea who came from Fox 10?
Uh,
LW?
I'm gonna take a guess. I'm gonna guess the first letter of her first name starts with a K.
Yep.
Am I
Yes.
close? Am I getting warm?
Yes.
I'm getting
Carrie
warm.
Lake,
Okay,
right?
Carrie Lake.
God knew what was going to happen in Carrie Lake's future. He at that time, Carrie Lake had no idea she would ever run for governor.
No.
She had no idea. And so here God is putting me in, not that I'm going to say she ever remembered me, but he's putting me already in touch with a lady that is going to run for governor. Why is that significant? Because my friends were helping in her campaign. I had her on my program. I told her I interned at Fox 10. And there's been a lot of interns since that time. So of course she's not going to remember, but at least we had that in common. Like I could say, I remember you when I would work the evenings because she was the evening anchor with John Hook. God was introducing me to her, even though like we don't have like a best friend gal pal relationship. It was still significant that I met her, especially because the people in her circle are now friends with me. And I am one person away from the president of the United States, and I'm not talking about Joe Biden. I mean, I know all these people now that have a direct relationship with Bill Clinton. That came out of nowhere.
Left
That
field.
came way out of nowhere.
Left field.
Donald Trump. I got to meet his son. I couldn't believe it. I got to meet his son in Missouri. And
Which one? Which one? Was it Eric or
Trump.
was it Junior?
Eric Trump. All these things that I wanted to say to him, nothing came out except, hi, can I get a picture with you? And that's it.
Can I tell you a story about Eric Trump real quick? Okay,
Please.
so I met Eric Trump in North Idaho. And so General Flynn and Eric Trump, they were so busy. They kept coming into the media tent. Again, this is all a learning experience for me. I have no idea what I'm really, truly doing. I'm just trying to pay attention to everybody around me and learn what's going on. That's how I learn. I learn hands-on, and people take that for different things. They made comment about it, and I'm just like, you do your thing, I'll do my thing. So they said, all the media people, be ready. They're going to come in and do a presser. They're going to do a press release. Well, I've never been part of a press release, right? I see it on TV all the time. Fox News and everyone else does it. So I'm just sitting there going, what do I do? What do I do? Well, all of a sudden they come in, they go, okay, he's on his way. And so all the press guys and women, they all started kind of getting in a half circle right in front of the little backboard there. Well, I've never done this before, so I made sure I was right up front from the get-go. And I was elbows out, making sure nobody was going to push me out of the way. Right? I wanted to at least see the guy.
Yes.
So here comes General Flynn, and he's kind of like, he almost acts like he's security for Mike Lindell and Eric Trump. It's kind of unique, right? He's kind of pushing people out of the way, say make room, and General Flynn's not that big of a guy. I expected like much taller of a guy, so he's a little bit shorter, but a nice, well-built man.
He's tall to me, but yeah, I can see that.
So they come in, and Eric starts talking, and he starts telling everybody about the same old stuff that we hear, everything that's going on with his dad, and the whole spiel. And then they go, okay, now we'll start taking questions, and they start to the right of me, and they're taking questions. And I just said, I just got to be bold. And so I raise my hand high. I get it like almost in General Flynn's face. I want him to see that I want to ask a question. So at the very end of the presser, General Flynn looks at me and he says, okay, go ahead and ask your question. And I got to ask Eric Trump a question. And that to some people, like, who cares? Hey, that was like a crowning moment for me. I got to ask the president of the United States' son a question. That's a big deal for me, especially for a little channel like LWN. So I just asked the question. I said, Eric, there are a lot of Americans out there and a lot of patriots out there that are discouraged, defeated at times, confused. They don't understand what's going on. How here was my question. How is Mr. Trump? How is his attitude? How's things going? And what kind of hope can you tell my audience what's going on with Mr. T? And he just came out and said, the guy's full of energy. And anyway, it's on Rumble if you guys want to check it out. It's way down on the Rumble page. But I got to ask Eric Trump a presser question, and for a little guy like me and little channel LWN, it was a big moment for us. And I couldn't be prouder for me to at least be bold enough to put myself out there and ask the question. And I guess that's what I should tell the audience tonight is be bold.
Put the link in the description, but I want to tell you something that's special about your Reawaken tour that hasn't happened at all the Reawaken tours. Because I've been at a few, and I was in the media room in some points. I was a speaker at one point. The media ones where I was a media vendor, only General Flynn came into the media room, not Mike Lindell, not Eric Trump, only other people, other speakers would come in, but not these guys. Mm-hmm. So it was a huge deal to me when I met Kash Patel, I met Eric Trump, and I've talked to before Mike Lindell, but I really got to talk to him because previously he's so distracted, especially when he comes to Arizona and he does the tours with Carrie Lake. He gets so distracted because everyone's like, Mike. So I only get a couple seconds here and there. And at Clay's office one time, I got more than a couple seconds. But at the Reawaken tour this last time, I actually got to speak to him for a longer period of time. And that was so special to me. And so here I'm like, I've never been this close to a president before. I've never been this close to like a general before. I've never met so many podcasters and attorneys and physicians and Christians coming together to save America. I mean, the fact that I was called to this it's been an incredible experience. And yeah, it's come with some hardships. Financially, it's hard. You have to spend a lot of money to go on these things and to meet these people and get the information firsthand. But also you're going to be rejected by family and friends because they're not on board with you. They're still watching mainstream brainwash your mind
lamestream media. We call it lamestream media.
It's true. So it's been crazy. So I meet Carrie Lake, right? And not knowing her future, not knowing my future, not knowing that my friends are going to be working in her campaign, not knowing she's going to be a governor, not knowing she's going to be really good friends with the president, a president that I'm like one person away. Like Clay knows him and General Flynn knows him and Mike Lindell knows. Like all these people know him. And praise God, like God put me in this realm with legislators and senators and congressmen. And I'm just like, I sit back and I'm like, whoa, this is insane. And it's been super fast, that meeting all these people super fast, and you being one of them. I mean, I love connecting with fellow podcasters because we've all been called to do this because there's such a lack of truth. And what does the Bible say? The truth will set you free. The truth will set us free. And there's been a lack of truth, and the people need truth. We perish without truth. We're held captive without truth. COVID was a perfect example, how captive we were with lies.
Yeah.
So it's just been an incredible experience, and I'm so grateful for it. And I'm so excited to be on this program and to start collaborating with you.
Well, there's a little bit of Amber May's background and where she came from. Did her internship at Fox, met Carrie Lake very early in her career, and now she's got all these connections. She's been part of the Reawaken tour with Clay Clark and many other great influencers and speakers and patriots out there across America, uniting this country. And I tell my audience all the time, if you have not experienced a Reawaken tour, you're missing out, because it's not what a lot of the critics like to say, that you go there and it's all about making money and it's all advertisement and all this other crap. That's all lies. They're there to divide us on purpose. And I want to be clear about that. I'll call it for what it is. They're there to divide the patriot movement so that we won't unite. But when I walked into the Speedway in North Idaho, into the Reawaken tour, there was a massive American flag hanging from two giant cranes. You could feel the patriotism as soon as you got on the premises. And then as you got closer, you started hearing music. Was it
Mhm.
rock and roll? Was it country music? What was it? No, it
Praise
was
music.
worship. It was worship music. I go in to where the vendors were, and there were people in the grandstands and people down in front of the stage. Their hands were in the air. They were worshiping God. It was amazing. It was the most amazing event that I've been to in a long time, where you felt the presence of God. And then, of course,
Yes.
you have the Patriots that you get to meet there. I got to meet some of my listeners there. I got to take photos with them. Phyllis and her husband Ron were truly amazing, and I know there was some other ones there too. And then to meet people like you and other influencers in the media tent, it's an experience that you'll never forget.
Oh yeah, the TV, the streaming is not even a fraction of the what you're going to feel. When I was in Branson, Missouri at the last Reawaken before this one this month, I just felt the Holy Spirit just really strong, moving. We saw so many baptisms that weekend. People just coming up for a lot of prayer. I got prophesied over, and so far some of that prophecy has been come true. The lady said that God has been pleased with what I've been doing, and that I've been like in a cocoon, and God's ready for me to be a butterfly, and he's going to elevate and elevate my voice. And because he's been pleased with what I've done in the little things and being obedient up until this, and now God's going to amplify my voice. And I was just like crying, like I couldn't believe what she was saying to me. And I love butterflies, and normally I have a butterfly necklace, but my kids got me a mom necklace for Christmas, so you got to sport the mom necklace.
You.
But I love butterflies, and so when she said that to me, I felt like that was a direct message from God. Like, how would she have known I love butterflies so much? And she used the exact terminology of what I love. And that was just a message from God. And I'm watching these people get baptized. And Sean Foyt, I will, every time I hear one of the messages that Sean Foyt gave at the Branson thing, I almost get teary. I re-listen to it periodically, and I almost get teary-eyed because God just really was profoundly using him and that message, and that message was said more than once, and I pay attention to that because as a speaker, you're not cohorting with the other speakers and being like, oh, so what are you going to say prior to the event? You don't go and call your other speaker friends and be like, oh, okay, so what are you going to talk about on the tour? That doesn't happen. God gives you a message for that audience. And I know that, I've been a part of the Reawaken tour for a while, but I've only been asked that last time, because that's the audience God needed me to speak to. And when I gave my message, it just like, I got so much response on my phone just leaving the stage. Like, I couldn't believe how my phone was blowing up with people joining my Telegram group, texting me. I mean, just all the social media. I couldn't believe it. And it was because God knew those are the people I needed to share my message with. And so when Sean Foyt and another guy had a similar message, I paid attention, but I still get chills just thinking about the message. And so it's not what people are saying it is. It's a Christian movement with some politics and some medical, but it's mostly about bringing people back to God. And if you ask Clay, he'll tell you the Reawaken tour is about bringing people back to God. And I don't know if you got to see any baptisms, but I saw a whole bunch when I was there in
No,
Missouri.
I didn't get to see baptisms, but I'd be just walking out of the tent and there'd be a group to the left of me as I walk out of the tent laying hands on people and praying. I saw a lot of prayer. I saw prayer in the media
Lots.
tent. It was truly an amazing, amazing experience that I hope to get to do that again here very soon. I
Come
know
to Las Vegas. It's
I
in August. I will be
it's in
there.
August. Well, Vegas would be a good place to go in August. I know they have one in Miami, Florida, I think in May. So
Yes.
I'm gonna try really hard to make it to that one. I'll try to make it to the Vegas one too, because it is a way for us to build audience. It is a way for people who've never seen us or heard us before get introduced to us and get an opportunity to know who we are and what our message is. And yeah, a lot of the Patriot messages are all the same, but that's because it's coming from God. We are here to unite this country and to take it back and
Mm-hmm.
get this country back to a constitutional republic,
Mm-hmm.
a There's many different terms for a lot of that stuff, but this is more than just us versus them. This is a spiritual battle
Mhm.
of good versus evil, and we see that on the TV screen constantly. The evil that's at our schools, and where
Mhm.
they have, a lot of this transgender ideology that they're trying to enforce and cram down the throats of parents and children. It's an attack on children. It's an attack
Mhm.
on families. It's an attack on women. It's an attack on men. You name it. This spiritual battle is covering the entire battlefield. Your thoughts on that, Amber?
I will tell you, you said it's a spiritual battle. I got the download of that back in my radio days. God gave me the download on that. And when I got the download, it was when I was going through the book of Daniel and I was reading Daniel chapter 10, and that's been like one of my favorite scriptures only because of what God was revealing to me. And he said to me that the prince of Persia is over your country, over your nation. And when he said that to me, I felt like there was going to be an end to the Prince of Persia running our nation. He didn't tell me there's going to be an end, but he told me that. And just, I felt like that also means there's going to be an end to it. And that was like over 10 years ago. He also gave me a vision that during this time when I'm reading Daniel, he gave me a vision that I was going to be on stage, and I'm standing behind myself. Like, try to picture this. It's kind of hard. Like, I'm standing in front of a microphone, and I'm watching myself from behind myself, and all these people are in this room listening to me speak. And that stuck with me for a long time. I'm like, I don't know if this is like me, like coming up with it out of my own self, or if this is really a vision from God, but couldn't shake that it was a vision from God. And finally it happened. It got fulfilled, what, 10, 11 years ago in November. So let me tell you, in the book of Daniel, you have to listen to this, like the description of this angel, okay?
Okay.
So Daniel chapter 10 verse 2, at that time I, Daniel, mourned for 3 weeks. I ate no choice food, no meat, no wine touched my lips, and I used no lotions at all until the 3 weeks were over. On the 24th day of the first month, as I was standing on the banks of the great river, the Tigris, I looked up, and there before me was a man dressed in linen. So 24 days he's been asking God for this message. The description of this angel is freaking scary to me. Like, if I saw this angel in real life, I would just be like Daniel. I'd be like laying prostrate on the ground, like, holy crap, this is freaking scary. It's not like the white angel, dressed in white. No, listen to this. His body was like topaz. His face was like lightning. His eyes like flaming torches. His arms and legs that gleamed of burnished bronze, and his voice sounded like a multitude. I, Daniel, was alone, and I was the only one who saw the vision. Those who were with me did not see it, but such terror overwhelmed them that they fled and hid themselves. Like, you can tell there's a spiritual being around because the back of your neck stands up. Like, you just know there's something not right in this situation, so you leave. Well, that's what happened to these people, right? They had no idea Daniel seeing this vision of an angel, so they left. He said, I had no strength left. My face turned deathly pale, and I was helpless. Yeah, that would be me. And I heard him speaking, and as I listened to him, I fell into a deep sleep, my face to the ground. A hand touched me, and he set me trembling on my hands and knees, and he said, Daniel, you are highly esteemed. Consider carefully the words I'm about to speak to you, and stand up, for I have now been sent to you. And when he said to me, I stood up trembling. He continued, do not be afraid, Daniel. Since the first day, this is the part that God spoke to me. Since the first day that you set your mind to gain understanding and humble yourself before your God, your words were heard, and I came in response to them. So he said, immediately God dispatched him. God heard his words, immediately dispatched this angel. But the prince of Persia, the prince of the Persian kingdom, resisted me 21 days. So I want you to picture this, okay? You have God's holy angel get dispatched immediately.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have this demonic prince of Persia. The Bible calls him the prince of the Persian kingdom, was up in the heavenly realm, and he couldn't, and our God's angel could not defeat this prince of Persia. So this is how powerful this spiritual demonic being is, that God's angel was battling him for 21 days. Now, this is what happened. Then Michael, the archangel, the highest angel in heaven, had to come down and rescue him because I was detained there with the king of Persia. So we started dealing with the prince of Persia, and then the king of Persia came. So you have to think, I'm guessing that Satan is the king of Persia and the prince of Persia is like probably his highest demon, I'm going to guess. I don't know. The demons are fallen angels from God. So they're very strong. And so this is how strong the spiritual battle is, because you had the prince of Persia over our nation, is what God told me. And when I reread it a few months ago, I picked up on the king of Persia that I didn't remember before. And so I'm so happy to know that all these believers really understand that it's a spiritual battle, because that was revealed to me a long, long time ago. And so I've been praying against the prince of Persia for a long time, and especially the sexual perversions. And nothing gets me more than the children that have been trafficked. And I call it rape trafficking. They get trafficked through CPS. They get trafficked through drug cartels. They get trafficked all kinds of ways. Sometimes I interviewed one lady, and she was 10, 11 years old when she got trafficked. There was a woman that spotted her coming back and forth from school. She walked, and the easiest target are the children of single parents.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a reason why they want single parents, because their kids are easier targets. Why? Because there's only one parent, and that parent has to work. And so that leaves the child very vulnerable. It's easier when there's two parents because you can coordinate, pick up, drop off, or it's just easier when there's two parents because there's 4 eyeballs on your child versus the 2. And when those 2 are distracted because you have to make a living, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
So this lady gained her trust and started asking for her help with like little things, you know? And so she started getting her trust, and every day she'd meet her at school, on her way to school. She would like stand on this like staircase that would lead up to her building, if she even really lived there, and developed a relationship. And finally one day she said, "Hey, I really need some help. I need to get some money, but I really need to get your help. Can you please help me, go with me so I can go get my money?" And this 10, 11-year-old girl that she's already built a relationship with took her. And these 2 men kidnapped her, threw her in the car. The woman said, "I need to go to the convenience store. I got to go get a drink. I'll be right back." And that girl was terrified. She knew that girl wasn't coming back. She knew she was going to get trafficked. Well, she didn't know she was going to get trafficked, but she knew she was going to get stolen. And she was stolen, I don't know how long it was. It's been a while since I did the interview, but I'm going to say a year, maybe longer. And it was one guy who picked up on her that was supposed to have his way with her. And she begged him. She said to him, "I will do anything you want me to do to you tonight if you will just take me home afterwards." And so I don't know what got into that guy. He didn't even touch her. He's like, "I will just take you home right now."
Wow.
So I don't know if it was an angel. I don't know if it was someone who was trying to rescue children out of sex trafficking, but it's happening here in our country, and it goes all the way up to the seat of the White House.
Yeah.
And this is how bad it is. It's throughout Hollywood. They traffic kids in Hollywood. Why do you think the borders open, people?
Yep.
Because you can traffic drugs, guns, and people and make a profit off of it. You can only sell drugs once, but you can sell a child multiple times.
Correct.
It's disgusting.
About this spiritual battle and about Daniel chapter 10 and how one of God's own angels battled the prince of darkness, and it held him up for 21 days. It made me think about something for a moment. And I'll ask you a question here in a minute, Amber. So if you take a look at what's going on in our country right now, and you take a look, we talked off stage about tarot card reading and the division of Christianity, how instead of believers coming together, we're getting even more divided. divided by religion, divided by all kinds of things. You take a look at the Patriot movement, where you have divisions with Trump supporters and conservatives, and constant division. And then you look at people out there who are maliciously attacking people like us and trying to discredit us and tear us down. God gave me in 2022. He gave me he gave me a sentence that I really paid attention to in 2022. A lot of people probably didn't know this about me, but I shared it with a few people, and even some of those people, it fell on deaf ears. God said, "You will know them because of their fruits."
Mm-hmm.
So when I interact with people, I'm paying attention to those fruits. Now, if there are things on that tree that don't agree with my belief or the things that I am moving forward to and the calling that God has for me, I'm sorry. I have to walk away and I have to move on. But to the comment about the spiritual warfare, if you think about this for a minute, all the division that I'm just talking about, all this inner fighting amongst the patriot movement and amongst believers, all these people out there tearing one another down. And it's easy to spot them. You can spot them from a mile away because of their fruits. If they're out there, and if people in my audience are still watching this stuff, if you're still going over there and listening to the BS that they put out and all the other stuff, if you want God to come back to this country, those are the battles that are on the field right now. And it's taking longer for this all to come to fruition because we're not united, and we won't let bygones be bygones and quit the division and start the unity and start really working for God and not for ourselves. Get over yourself, swallow your pride, swallow your ego, swallow whatever it is that's hanging you up, and get in this fight. And so when I hear Daniel chapter 10, and you talk about the God's angel that's being hung up for 21 days before he could get to Daniel, we all are crying out for God. God has sent his angels. They're on the battlefield battling evil right now. And we continue to walk down this path of division. And frankly, it saddens my heart to see so many people fall prey to it. It's almost like the people that you would expected to have God's armor on and be able to deflect some of this stuff are the easiest prey, and some of the people that you wouldn't expect that you would think, man, they're going to be vulnerable. They're the strongest ones. Because why? Because their feet are firmly planted in the word of God, and that they listen to him and not to all the buzzing and all the voices in their head and all the other stuff around us. And at times, I think we have to step back and self-reflect and say, hey, are these voices in my head really doing any good? Or are they doing more damage than good? And sometimes you have to let things go. And people don't understand that. It's not always necessarily somebody walking away from me or you. Sometimes it's us actually walking away from them. We had to let it go. We could no longer keep that part of whatever it is that we're working towards. So that's just kind of the vision that I had as you were talking about that, is when everybody's asking for all this stuff to happen quickly, hey, God's out there battling, and he's waiting for you.
Yeah, Habakkuk 1, 2, and 3. I want you guys to look at those. This is also something that God gave me, and he gave it to me right before I went to Clay's event a few months ago at his office. And as Clay and the people presenting were talking, I walked up to Clay and I said, I think you need to read Habakkuk 1, 2, and 3. I just think that's for you. We need encouragement because it looks like God's not doing anything. And that's what the prophet Habakkuk was saying to God. He's like, God, you're this righteous God, and you're a God of justice. And he's listening to characteristics of God, and he's absolutely right about God. He's like, but you're not doing anything because look at all this evil that's happening. And God's like, hold your horses. What do you mean I'm not doing anything? Just because you can't see that I'm not doing anything, you think I'm not doing anything? The only day that God ever rested was in the beginning of creation, and he rested on the seventh day. Other than that, the scripture has never told us that he ever rested again. I think he only rested one day. because he knew we needed a day of rest, not because he needed a day of rest, setting an example. And so that book was such an encouragement to me, because everything that was going on in Habakkuk's day is going on in our day. And God is at work, and he is doing stuff. And I know he's at work just because of the things he has done in my life personally. I told you a snippet of how I've gotten to where I am today with the people I've met today. It's not me that met Clay Clark to introduce me to General Flynn and Eric Trump and Cash Patel and Mike Lindell and LW and the Patriots with Grit and Tanya Joy and all these other people and Dr. Stella and this doctor and that doctor and this lawyer, this legislator, that legislator. It's not me. God had this whole thing worked out for a long time. Now I'm writing a piece of legislation, never done that before. Precinct committeeman, never done that before. God set me up. So if you think he's not doing anything, maybe it's not doing anything to what you think he should be doing right now, but he is setting the chessboard. He's putting all his players.
He's making all the moves. And even in my own life, I told you a snidbit of the blessings that he's given me just in the last 24 hours and more. You know, God brings people into your life, and those people, they do hard things, they do hard work, and they help you get to where you're going. Some things, some people he puts in your life helps build your character. And I'm grateful for everybody that's come in my life. And I'm grateful, even though the ones that had to leave or I had to walk away, I'm grateful for those people as well, you know. But when you pray to God for answers and God removes people from your life, that's not something that you should grasp onto and try to hang on to. He removed them for a reason. And I can tell you without a doubt, God has moved in my life, and he put me in a position right before Missouri. And then after Missouri, he is the one that moved the chessboard pieces, not me. He did. And I can tell you that since that moment I gave it over to him, LWN has been soaring straight up, and we haven't looked back, and we have met more people than you could ever imagine in the first 18 months that we were on the air. God has totally blessed us, and it continues to be a blessing and a blessing. And I give God all the praise and the honor and the glory for everything that he's doing in my life in LWN, because it's not me. I'm not the one back here making all these decisions. I give it over to him, and I allow him to work through me and in my life to get me to where he wants me to go. Now, not everybody agrees with that. And of course, there's people out there that like to say things about it. Hey, take it to God. That's all I can tell you. I'm just doing whatever it is that he moves me in that direction. That's the direction I'm going to go. I'm not here for you. I'm not here for man. I'm here for what he has called me to do, and I'm not going to argue with that. And I won't go any other direction.
You can't, especially, and I felt like you're probably feeling like me when we got called. There's this burden that we just feel in our soul that we have to keep going, even though it's really hard. And sometimes it's difficult to take a break and have fun. And sometimes it's hard to go back into the matrix. And sometimes it's frustrating because you see all these people still in the matrix thinking it's the time of their life, not realizing there's people on the outside that are trying to stop a lot of the corruption and destruction of the United States. It's hard because I get kind of jealous sometimes. I'm like, those people are having the time of their life, but they have no idea how close we are to losing as a country. They have no idea because God didn't call them to do this fight. And then I go back to what the book of, the Old Testament and all the times that God called one person or a few people to fight the enemy. So I have to think, if nothing is new under the sun, like King Solomon said, then I have to believe that those people were in the matrix, that they had no idea maybe how bad it was. They were having the time of their life, going to social events, just living life, going to work, coming home, raising a family. While the ones that were called to fight the battle, I don't know, I'm just guessing. I'm not saying this is scriptural. I'm just guessing because of where I am now and how I see the world is today, and going back that when you see God only called so many people to fight the battle, I'm like, I bet it was the same for them too. They probably had the same feeling. And I just have to encourage myself. I got to stop and go have fun and enjoy the blessings too. Just because I'm called into this battle doesn't mean I stop enjoying life.
Well,
there's this balance, and it's
here's
hard
a story for everybody. Here's a story that will sum up everything that I just said. If you want to talk about Gideon and his army, so he had a massive army. God brought Gideon warriors. Now listen to me. I want you people who out there who are still following certain things and buying into all the BS out there, listen to what I'm telling you. God brought Gideon his army. And then when they went to the river, God said, I want you to pick the men who drink from cupping the water with their hand.
Mm-hmm.
And there was only 300 of them, roughly 300, whatever that story is.
They cut the army down from like a couple thousand to 300.
So when you get upset because people have come in my life and left and we have gone our separate ways, did God bring them into my life? Absolutely. Did they help me? Absolutely. But God has chosen the warriors that will stay and fight with LWN. I don't make that up. That is his choice. Get mad if you want, but I am going to follow what he has laid before me. And if God says you only take these people into battle with you, then those are the people that I'm going to take into battle with me. And, the other ones have a different thing that God's called them to do. Think about that too. Just because somebody leaves your circle doesn't mean that God's done with them. There may be something bigger that he has planned for them that they have to go on their own path and do. So, I just think of that story about the 300 because right now there's so much infighting out there and there's so much stuff that just continues to drag up drama constantly. And I'm just like, God does this. This is his plan, and I'm just going to stand back and do what I'm told to do, and people will like it or they don't. And I think that's what we also have to realize in the patriot movement. There are going to be the ones that God calls to do the things that he's asked them to do, and then there's going to be others that maybe they were there in the beginning and they won't be there in the end because he's got other things for them to do or whatever it is. But we can't be getting upset over this stuff.
Right. Like John the Baptist, his time on earth and for his role was for a short time. His role was not to continue because his role was to prepare for people for Jesus Christ. So you're absolutely right. Sometimes people's roles are in for just that time frame. Others are longer. And it's funny you say, Gideon, because God has prepared me with Bible studies that made it for just this time. And he was speaking to me for just this time. And Gideon was one of those big things that he was talking to me about. And so it's funny that that's the Bible study, or that's the Bible chapter that you talk about, because God has talked to me through that in my Bible studies for the last year when I was studying Gideon. So that's pretty funny.
Well, it's just confirmation. And I've had many confirmations over the last 2 years from very close friends of mine that have given me confirmations, from complete strangers that's given me confirmation, and phone calls. I just have a phone call with somebody and all of a sudden I get a confirmation from God. So, God is working. And I like your comment earlier about people who are worried about nothing going on, but God has never taken a break, and he's working in my life, he's working in your life, and he's working in everyone's lives that are listening to us right now, and he's working in different areas in different ways, and we all have a part to play, and we all have things that he needs us to do. Some of them may be at the tip of the spear, some of it may be at the handle, some of it may be a shield. I don't know what your calling is. That's not my job to figure out what your calling is. My job is to know what my calling is and to continue down that path. So, very powerful things are happening in our country, and I've seen miracle after miracle happen in my own life here at LWN and around this country too. We've seen things happen in this country that 20 years ago, Amber, we would have said there's no way that would ever happen. No way. And it's happened in Congress. It's happened in the Senate. It's happened with the Trump movement. It's happened. And there's no other way of explaining it other than it's God's hand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no other way. It's 100% you're correct.
And that's what I told people when it comes to a great revival. It'll be a revival that God cannot be denied. Like nobody will be able to say that God didn't have a hand in it. And I think that is where we're moving toward, is
Hmm.
to this revival where
Yes.
he will be the one at the very top that cannot be denied. Every knee shall bow and every tongue will confess. And that's what I believe.
I think so too. I think he's doing a soul harvest right now because he is the only one that can touch the deepest parts of your soul that have been so hurt by man. And I'll tell you a quick story for me. I'm an infertility survivor. I've had 6 pregnancies, but only 2 children. And I almost didn't get the chance to have kids because I had a ruptured fallopian tube with one pregnancy. I had my child, and then I had another ectopic pregnancy, which was my only fallopian tube left. So that means if that's gone, I can't have children naturally. And I was devastated, but God somehow saved it, even though my child didn't survive. It wouldn't survive anyways. It was in the fallopian tube, so it went straight to heaven. But it was devastating because I had my son after that, thank God, and I was done. And even in my pregnancies, I was so severely sick. My organs were on the brink of shutting down. My blood pressure was 191 over 101. It was preeclampsia. So it was very dangerous for me to even be pregnant. But before I had children, when I lost my third child, so I had 3 miscarriages, then I had my first child. I was in such a dark place, such a dark place. I couldn't see God working in my life. I was tempted to drink every day, and I thought, oh, I'm just so good. I don't have to, like, I'm just so strong that I can say no to alcohol. No, because it was a temptation at my door every day because I was in so much pain from losing a child, not being able to have a child, and feeling less than a woman because I'm supposed to be able to have children. That's what I'm supposed to do. I'm a female, right? I couldn't give my husband a child, and I felt horrible. And when you start having, when you, as a female, like, you already know your body's changing from the beginning. Like, you already instantly feel the change happening in your body, and you feel connected with your child, and you have the dreams. Well, as soon as you find you're pregnant, the dreams of holding your child and what it would look like and kissing that little sweet face and what it's going to be like to grow up. And that got taken away from me every single time. And I hated God, and I stopped going to church, and I wouldn't pray to him. And God put me at a radio station that was, we had regular programming, but we also had Christian programming. I was surrounded by pastors who would pray for me. And here I couldn't see God's hand in any of it, that he abandoned me. I felt like God abandoned me. And yet he placed me in such a place to prepare me for what I'm doing now, being in broadcasting for this moment in time, but also around pastors who prayed with me, prayed for me, even when I didn't know they were praying for me, because they knew just the despair and the heartache I went through. And it took time, and God eventually healed that prayer, that heart of mine, and he spoke to me so loudly. And when he spoke to me finally after several years, God took time because he knew I needed the time. I wasn't going to hear from him. I didn't want nothing to do with him. And I told him every day, I hate you. I told him that. And then he told me on a Good Friday, I don't know how I wound up in church on a Good Friday. That's a miracle in itself because I was so anti-church at this point. Um, he said, would I have gone through all the pain I suffered on the cross just to hurt you? That's all he said. And I was in tears because no. Why would he have suffered? I mean, his suffering was way more than my suffering. And so God doesn't do things in our life to hurt us, but there's a sinful nature, and we will find the deepest wounds, and we will get hurt in such a deep way that only God can heal. Only my husband couldn't help me. My mother tried to help me. No one could help me because it was such an intimate thing that I experienced in my own body, and the desire to be a mom so bad, and the loss of feeling like I'm a female, and just the heartache of having to see all that, like, it has to leave my body and I have to see it and endure it.
Mm.
It's different than what my husband had to go through because it didn't happen to his body. It happened to my body. Did he feel sad? Yes. But not in the way I had to feel it. I felt the child. He never felt the child. And so only God can heal you if you're in such pain like I was. And that's why I do what I do, because I want people to get free, like the freedom I felt when God spoke to me directly, because no drinking, no drugs, no human was going to fix that pain. That was only a God thing. And that's what he's doing right now. He's trying to reach the people that are so. Look at the transgender movement. I've talked to a man who was a transgender. Like, he had so much pain inside of him because he was sexually assaulted as a child. And his parents didn't deal with that and didn't deal with the sexual assault. And another man came to the Arizona state legislator because we had a bill on the floor. And he too was sexually assaulted by his swim coach. And he went to therapy. These men went to therapy. The therapist never touched on the thing that hurt them the most. And so they were doing anything they could to get rid of that pain that only these two men found was from Jesus Christ. And so now these two men are trying to save other children and other people from making the mistakes they made, because the way now when you're with your spouse or you're with your significant other and you're in the bedroom, like, that is something so powerful and so private, but it's something so beautiful. And it changed for these men now, because now they have to reconstruct things that they took away. Plus, they can't have children anymore. So I could totally relate to the loss that they felt because they can't have children anymore. And I had parents, I was listening into this bill, right? God sent me to the legislator for such a time as this. And these parents were advocating for the ability for them to change the gender of their kids. And the problem that these parents didn't think about is the fact that if they have these surgeries, they are going to take the ability for their kids to ever have children. And for me, who struggled with trying to have children, was a huge deal, because I know the heartache that those kids are going to go through when they want to have kids someday. Because right now they're 13, they're 14. That's the last thing that they want to think about, is having children. But someday they're going to want to have kids, and they're going to blame their parents and said, you should have known better, because now look what happened. Now I can't have the children that I wanted to have. And that's going to tear apart that family's relationship. Yeah. They think those parents thought they were doing the right thing for their kid. But because they don't know God and they don't know what God is telling them, they're believing the lies that aren't true, and what these men went through and the testimonies these men shared. And they're trying to warn people, please don't make the mistakes I made. Because now you're going to make it difficult to have that sexual relationship with someone you love in the future. And now you can't have children. So this is the time where God is really trying to heal people who have these deep wounds that only God can heal.
Wow, that's powerful, Amber. That's powerful. You know, the devil comes to kill, steal, and destroy. And that's what he's doing to women. That's what he's doing to children. That's what he's doing to men, fathers, mothers, families, believers. It's everywhere that you look. And I love the message that God is the one that can heal it when nobody else can, when doctors can't, when psychologists can't, when your parents can't, when your husband, your wife can't. God is there. And you're right. He did not be crucified. He didn't get whipped 39 times to almost his death, and then to get nailed to a cross, to suffer for all of us, if he couldn't heal us, if he couldn't fill that void, if he couldn't be there to comfort us. So, you know, I don't think I need to roll into any kind of final thought. I think your message was spot on, and I'm just going to wrap up today with thanking you so much for joining us here at LWN, and give you an opportunity to tell people where they can find the Amber May Show, and the links will be in the description below. Mods have been dropping them this entire show, so please reach out to Amber May, find her show, subscribe to it, and support her, because she has a different perspective than LW does here. And what a powerful message that she just brought to us tonight. So thank you for that, Amber. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you. The easiest way to find me is theambermayshow.com. That's theambermayshow.com, because I have links to my social media there. So if you want to head over to my website, you could do that. But just really quick, I'm on Frank Speech and Rumble and Brighteon and BitChute. I'm trying to be on Facebook and Twitter. Twitter keeps censoring me. I'm just like, what the heck, Elon Musk? You said you're for free speech, yet here I am getting deleted. So
you even made comment to me about how are you still on Twitter? Hey, all I can say is my steps are ordered, and wherever God wants me to be is where He's going to have me to be. How I'm still on Twitter or Facebook, I have no idea. Do you know that I've been taken down on off of Facebook one time? Do you know who it was that got me taken down off of Facebook and what we were even talking about?
No.
I got to give credit to Paul Engel. So Paul Engel, I met him in Missouri at the Truth Summit, and Paul Engel is a constitutional scholar, has written books. He actually came to South Idaho and did a course down there for us, did a speech one night, and I was there, and the the video didn't turn out so well, so I couldn't put it up, but I scheduled and had him come on my show, and all we talked about was the Constitution of the United States.
Wow.
That's it. We talked about the founding fathers. We talked about how the Constitution worked. We talked about the Bill of Rights and how the Bill of Rights worked. And that is the one and only show that I have ever been taken down off of Facebook for. They completely took it down. They did not want anyone knowing about the Constitution of the United States or the Bill of Rights or how any of that stuff worked. And it was crazy. I've been on Facebook now going on almost 2 years, have put out the craziest content you've ever seen. We've talked about it all, and they didn't want us to talk about the Constitution. And that right there should be a huge red flag for every person listening in the audience tonight. Why is it that big tech does not want the audience to know and learn about the Constitution of the United States?
And please also help me out on Twitter, since Elon Musk says he's for freedom of speech. So please retweet my stuff that gets taken down, because you'll see the video and it's blank, and tag Elon Musk and say, I thought you believed in freedom of speech. Please help me tag him, because I'm just one person.
I will try my best. Oh, wow.
Eat your words, Elon Musk.
The world we live in nowadays, that's for sure. Well, Amber, thank you so much for being a guest here at LWN. It was a great conversation, very powerful. Thanks for sharing your life with us, and thank you for allowing my audience to get to know you on an intimate basis there, because I really feel like that's what makes these connections with our listeners, is us being real and us sharing our lives with them and our experiences. It's something that we're just like they are. We're average, ordinary people out here doing God's calling. And so thank you for joining us tonight. Much appreciated. All right, folks, that's all we have for tonight. Please check her out, Amber May Show, theambermayshow.com. Links and description, everything will be in the bottom there. Check her out. Please support her. God bless each and every one of you, and we will catch you on the next one. Liberty Warrior Nation, if you missed it last time, it's back. The biggest bed sheet sale ever. The Giza Dream Sheets, the bed sheets as low as $29.99 using promo code LWN. You could save up to 50% off. Don't forget, Mike Lindell and My Pillow have some of the best products out there. He has My Coffee, My Slippers. He's got bedding for dogs. He's got the bath towel sets. Lots of great products out there for every patriot. And if you'd like to support Mike Lindell, in return, supporting him also supports me here at LWN. Like I said, use promo code LWN. You could save up to 50% off the Giza bed sheets, $29.99.
hoping for a sincere performance, but open to finding the moment, to finding out where I'm headed now. Looking for a sign of disaster, so I can make it there faster. I'm weighing the consequences out. I can see in all directions. It's all open to interpretation, but I see colors that are breaking from the other side, the other side. When I make mountains out of summer trails, when I buckle under all the details, I'll keep going till I make it to the other side, the other side. Can you tell me the secret of how you can take it or leave it? How you can blend in with the crowd? I'm so scared, so damn afraid to look. I'm so sick of talking. I'm wearing the words out, words out. I can see in all directions. It's all open to interpretation, but I see colors that are breaking from the other side, the other side. When I make mountains out of summer trails, when I buckle under all the details, I'll keep going till I make it to the other side, the other side. When it feels like everyone's out to get me, I see the river on the